stream. Okay, so I'm just going to start the London session live stream, and I'm currently in a JP225 long entry, or what you might refer to also the Nikkei. Now this is an entry that I took at 7:50, just 10 minutes prior to the start of the London session, and nowadays I've started to consider taking some trades if the setup is there just before the start of the London session. Now this is a classic trade based on the way that I do trade, and I've talked about my trading strategy for quite a while, but for those who are new and those who are coming across my content for the first time, normally I'm a price action trader, and I normally look for imbalances in buying and selling pressure so that I can take advantage of trending markets. Now, what do I mean by this? So, for example, this instance, we've had a market that has been pushing lower for quite a while. Now, normally what I look for whenever I'm looking for buys is I try to get in when the market is low or the price is low, so that I can get quite a good ROI on the trade. So, and normally I just don't take entries. I normally look for signs of exhaustion that the previous trend has ended. So, for example, if a market has been trending lower, getting lower lows, lower highs, and we get into a situation now where we're getting some sort of a descending channel, and this is when the market is just breaking lows and retracing every time, I start to now look for signs that we might get an uptrend. So normally once we get this sort of a descending channel here at the bottom, so let me just move this one like this, move this up. So if a market has been trending lower like this, and then we get this sort of a descending channel at the bottom, descending nature. So in the descending nature, you can just put a trend line at the top and a trend line at the bottom, something like this. So you can see prices just playing in a zigzag manner inside that channel. That is what I usually refer to as a descending channel or a descending nature. So whenever I get this sort of a descending nature and we get the impulsive push to the upside, I normally look for pullback entries to take prices higher. Now, I'm able to see this price action because of the amount of time I've put into looking at charts and just studying the charts and price action. So I can identify this sort of price patterns or structure by just looking at the candles. But in case you can't see it clearly, you can go to the line chart. And in this instance, you can see once we got out of this sort of a consolidation area where just price was just moving sideways, we got a strong sell-off, taking us out of the consolidation. But I did not get any entries, and either way, this was during the Asian session. I don't trade the Asian session. So once we got this push, we continued pushing lower. You can see the strength. You can see how much distance we've covered with this leg, this trending leg, after this pullback. But from what I'm seeing, there wasn't a lot of strength in the momentum as sellers continues to push prices lower. But After we got this low and we got this pullback, we got this sort of a descending channel where price just breaking the low, retracing, breaking the low, retracing, breaking the low, retracing. And this for me was now an indication that we could get some sort of a reversal at any time. And if you look at the line chart, you'll be able to see this descending nature that I'm talking about. So you can see if you draw this parallel line, this trend line, and we draw a trend line at the top, we get this sort of a situation where price is just playing around inside this trend line. This sort of a channel, that this is what I call a descending nature or a descending channel. Now we did not get the reversal immediately. Price continued to push lower with some strength, but at the end here, after we got these two candles, once we broke the low of this candle over here, you can see we broke with a wick and we retraced immediately, and then we broke again. We got another test of this area with this large wick, and then price started to push higher. Now for me, once we broke this high of this candle, after I got this pullback with this candle, I was waiting to see if I could get confirmation with another strong bullish candle. Now today I'm using the white background instead of the dark. So the gray candles are the bullish candles and the black candles are the bearish candles. So once we got the confirmation, especially with this candle over here, you can see we've had this for me is an indication, that we could now start the uptrend, and I was looking for entries on the pullback. So I got my entry at this candle close at 750. Now for now, my high is now at this point. This is the area I'm looking for before I can start managing the trade and moving my stop loss. So let me just label it so that you can be able to follow along. And this is the low. Now I'm waiting for price to break this high before I can move my stops to this level, the low of this candle. So I'll have reduced my risk to by about half of the risk that I had put on in the first place. So I normally risk 1% on the trades, especially on the personal account, and so with this particular entry I'm risking 1%. If we break this high, I'll be able to move my stop to at least just have 0.5% risk open. But for now we are running about 0.71% or 0.71 risk to reward, and it's all about waiting to see how price is going to play out. Now for today, I had two pairs on watch. I had the JP225 or the Nikkei, and I also had the NAS 100 on watch. I was waiting for pullback entry. You can see similar price action on NAS 100 compared to the JP225. We had a market that had been trending lower for quite a while, and then at the bottom here we got the descending channel or the descending nature I'm talking about. Started breaking the low, retrace, break the low, retrace, we break the low, retrace, we break the low again, then we get the reversal. Now if you go to the line chart, you'll be able to see the descending nature at the bottom of the market that had been trending lower. So you can see here clearly, just draw this trend line at the top and another one at the bottom. You can see price will play around this inside of this channel, and it's some sort of a squeeze. Then we got the push to the upside. Now we did not get the entry on the NAS 100 as price continued pushing higher without giving me my entry trigger. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to take any other entries. If we get strong momentum pushing upwards, then I might consider taking more entries, but I'll be aware of this high over here. So I'm glad that I already have an entry on the JP225, because now this is on the under chart. Let me just go to the blueberry chart, because I use Blueberry to execute my trades. Blueberry is my preferred broker, so you can find a link in the description. Now I took the trade at this level over here, so let's just wait and see how price is going to play out. Right now I'm not moving my stop. I'm waiting for price to break this high before I can move my stop to maybe break even, depending on price action, how price will develop here. If we can break this high and move stops to break even, that will be really ideal. Oh, hello trading journals. Let me just do that real quick. Is it audible enough right now? I do hope that the sound is now okay. I hope that the mic volume is now okay. Now, as I was saying, I'm waiting to see if we can get continuation of momentum to the upside. I have this open trade on the JP225, or what some may refer to as the Nikkei. And I'm currently, for today's London session, this will probably be the only trade that I'll be able to take, because when I looked at the markets in the morning, there was only two possible pairs on watch for me for this particular London session. Now, as the day goes on, things might change, but at the start of the London session, or even just before the start of the London session, I was looking at two pairs, the NAS 100 and the JP225. I did not get the entry on the NAS 100, but I did get the entry on the JP225, which is currently running at about, let me just check quickly, 0.79% to 0.79 risk to reward. And currently I've not moved my stop, waiting for price to break this high before I can move my stop to maybe break even. And we have quite a distance for this trade to run in case we do get a market that will trend. So let's just wait and see how this trade is going to play out. Have you guys taken any trades today or yesterday? It will be really ideal if we can get a win on the stream today. as I always say, trading here is really a game of patience. So you have to be patient and wait for price to play out. I had already had to be patient for quite a while to get this set up. And the important thing about trading is you have to let trades come. You have to allow price to come to your area or to play according to how you usually manage your trades or your trading plan. It's not about forcing trades. So this trade might end up being a loss, which will be completely fine with me, considering that this is a high probability setup. It is exactly the type of trade setup that I look for. A market that has been trending lower for quite a while, and then we get this sort of a descending nature, which is normally a sign that the selling pressure is getting exhausted. And so once we get impulsive push after we get this sort of a descending channel, for me, I like to take trades in such scenarios. This instance, price continued to push lower after we got this descending channel, but the price action on these candles over here at the bottom was also a clear indication that the selling pressure was exhausted or getting exhausted. So once we got this impulsive push with this 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish candles, we have some bearish candles inside the impulsive push, but that's completely fine. I took the entry on the pullback at 7:50, just 10 minutes before the London session. Now, do you trade with prop firms? At the moment, I don't trade with any prop firm, but I've traded with prop firms before. As I've said in my videos, like this first half of the year, I was focusing on working on the intraday strategy to perfect it before I could start doing evaluations using my new hybrid approach, where I have a swing approach and I have the intraday approach. Now with the swing entries, it was really difficult to pass prop firms because the market conditions of late were not really ideal for swing entries. And after doing numerous prop firms, it's not like I've not done prop. In fact, I started doing prop firms back in 2021 and actually got an FTMO account at the time. I remember back then the rules are even more strict than they are right now, because you had to complete the challenge and get the 10% within 30 days. And if you didn't, it didn't matter if you are not in drawdown, if you had not broken the drawdown limit, your challenge just went like that. And I've seen prop firms come and go, and especially in 2023 or 2024, last year? It was last year. We had so many prop firms closing down. But starting August, I'm just giving myself this month because I'm still working on the Discord community, the learning material, so that whenever I do these live streams, most of you will be able to follow along and take the same trades as I do. And so starting from August, you're going to be getting into an aggressive prop firm program, because I have a serious amount of capital that I want to raise with prop firms. And the thing with prop firms is you also have to have a lot of money to throw at the prop firms, so it's about preparing yourself properly. Before, I used to be very conservative with my prop firm approach. I did not want to break the I use my phone. The mic is not that clear even right now. Okay, how about now? Is the sound better? Do you guys trade with prop firms? Have you passed an evaluation this year? Now, as I was saying, I was talking about prop firms, and I was just saying that you need to have enough capital to throw at prop firms to have like different attempts. It's not enough to just do one evaluation and trying to be too conservative. It will take you too long. So from August, we'll be doing the prop firm evaluations, and we'll have most of the prop firm evaluations will also be able to take the trades live stream. And I'm also hoping that by that time, in fact, by August, I'll have launched the Discord community. So a lot of the prop firm content will be inside of the Discord community. My progress with the evaluations, I'll be showing you my risk management strategy when it comes to passing prop firms, and also when it comes to managing the prop firm once you've passed, because I've passed prop firms before and I've lost the account. So I know that passing a prop firm is very different to managing prop firm accounts. So all that will be available in the Discord community, which will be launching maybe in the next 2 weeks or by the end of this month. I'm currently working on the learning material so that you'll be able to understand price action concepts. Even if you are a complete beginner, you'll be able to understand price action concepts and the way that I do trade and analyze the markets in a way that you also will be able to do the analysis on your own and take trades on your own. But we'll also be able to be sharing information within the Discord. So I'm really looking forward to that. When it comes to how much you need to trade to go full time, first of all, going full time trading is something that is really misunderstood by most people. And whenever you are starting to trade, you'll be talking about full time trading all the time. But after a while, after trading for quite a while, because I've been doing this for 7 years, you get to realize that full time trading sometimes can be very unrealistic and can be very stressful and very boring, because with trading you're not like and the thing with trading profits is that they are very inconsistent in terms of it's not a month by month basis in which you'll be generating profits from the market every month. So you have to be really balanced and also have my advice will be to at least have another source of income as you build your capital to a level where you can trade full time. Now, to trade full time, it depends on your situation, but what I will say is, personally for me, I've not yet gotten the amount of capital I would like to go full time with trading, which is, for me, I would say like at the bare minimum on a personal account, that will have to be maybe like $200K. I'm talking about $200K, because when you look at trading, it's not like you're going to generate a lot of returns like what you see people posting on the net. So let's say you make 30% returns in a year. If you can make 30% returns in a year on a $200K account, that is around $60K. Now with $60K, really, it doesn't matter where you're living in the world. $60K is enough to pay your bills and to do what you need to do to survive. So that's what I'm saying. At $200K, dollars, that will be ideal for me to, or for anyone to go like sort of full time. But as I've said, these profits will not be consistent. Some months will not be making any returns. Some you will be making a lot of returns. So it's just about finding a balance. And then now we have prop firms. That's why I've said within this now second half of the year, I'll be able to raise a lot of capital with prop firms. I'm very ambitious with the amount of capital I can raise with prop firms. So with prop firms, ideally I would say you need to raise more than even that. The 200K is for a personal account. With prop firms, if you generate 30% returns on your personal account, reduce that by half. That if you make 30% on your personal, you'll probably make 15% on your prop firms if you are trading in a sustainable way. So currently I'm mixing up different things. So I wouldn't say that I'm a full-time trader, because being a full-time trader means that you're only trading 100% of the time. There's no other source of income you have. So I think that answers your question. Get to 200K in personal capital before you can think about just depending on or going full-time trading. Now, that is I'm not saying that I don't want to be like full-time trading, but ideally I would like to mix different things, but all revolving around trading. So you have the trading, the personal trading, props, this content that I'm doing it revolves around trading. So I'm trying to do different things, but all of them revolve around trading, because I have experienced market conditions that sometimes are slow, and that can put a lot of pressure on you in case you are depending on trading full time. So trading journal, do you actually trade with prop firms? Now price is just hovering just above my entry. Now the good thing today is we do not have any news. We do not have any major news, so it's a clear day to trade without having any worries about having spikes in price action. Now obviously, unless we get the crazy stories coming from Iran. as I said at the beginning of the stream, today I only had 2 pairs on watch for the London session, which was the Nikkei or the JP225 and the NAS 100. And luckily I got a trade on the, luckily or unluckily depending on how it plays out. I took an entry on the JP225 at 7:50 a.m. This is based on London time, so this was around 9:50 Kenyan time. And I'm currently just holding the trade, which is just slightly above my entry. The thing I love about the new intraday trading approach is I'm really now getting a lot of opportunities to place entries, and whenever my swing approach is slow, I do not have to worry a lot because I still get opportunities on the intraday. Now over the last 2 months, I've been really working because I started implementing the strategy on the intraday within the last 2 months or 2.5 months. So there was an adjustment period at first, just getting to slow down a bit in terms of taking trades on the intraday, because at the start I was somehow like over trading, which is normal, especially when you're moving into a new trading strategy or a new system. So, but for me this was not really like a new system completely, because it's exactly the same concepts that I use on the swing approach, but just placing trades and analyzing using the 5-minute chart, so that I can be in and out of trades within a day, maybe a few hours. The swing approach, I might have to hold trades for a few days. What strategy do you use? And I see you trading almost everything. Yeah, I trade price action concepts. And with price action, you can actually trade any markets, because with price action, you're just, when you're looking at the charts like this, you can see it's very clean, no indicators or anything. It's just trying to find imbalances in buying and selling pressure. That's really what you're doing. Another start, I explained the reasons for taking this trade, this particular entry. Now, with price action, I'm just looking at structure and the formation and the different candlestick formations. So, for example, you can see here, this is a market that is just moving sideways. Okay. From this point to this point, it's not like a pushing lower or pushing higher. We're just playing around this certain between 70,330 and 69,979. Price is just playing around there. So this is what I will call a consolidation or a range. And I do not take trades inside of such areas. I wait for price to break out. Now, whenever I get this sort of a consolidation and price breaks out with strong momentum, we are likely to get a trending market. So in this instance, we got this strong breakout. And the way you know it's strong, you can see the size of this candle. Compare this candle with these candles inside this range. And once price continues to push lower, now this instance I did not get an entry. But as I said, once we got this sort of a descending nature here where price is just breaking lows and retracing, I was now looking to see if we could get a reversal. Price continued to push lower. But again, you can see these candles at the bottom here. See, look at the candles, the size of the candles with a lot of wicks. And this is an indication that price is about to reverse this because the selling pressure is getting exhausted. And immediately we got this push to the upside with some strong bullish candles. I was looking to take entries on the pullback. So just classic price action principles. And as I've said, currently doing the learning material, the learning content and the info for the Discord community. So in case you will be interested in this approach to trading, I'll have the Discord community up and running within the next 3 weeks. Because To explain these concepts, I can't explain all the details in a few minutes. It's really a lot of information to process. So if in case that is something you'll be interested in, just let me know. But it's purely price action concept, because this imbalances in buying and selling pressure, it applies to any market. So, and these cycles where the market moves from a range. So normally I would say you start with the Wyckoff principles, and we know with the Wyckoff principles, we know that market moves in different cycles. So we have trending markets, either trending lower, and we have markets that are in a consolidation, just moving sideways. So normally I normally look for trades during the trending phase of the market, and it can be an uptrend or a downtrend, it doesn't matter. I just take long and short entries depending on the price action that I'm getting. Now we're starting to push lower, so I'm now slightly in drawdown. Now, as I said, there are two scenarios that might play out here. Either I get tagged out, price comes, takes me out, or we push higher. And that is the reason why I normally always have a stop loss. So if price comes and breaks this low, for me this will be an indication that it will be difficult to continue pushing higher. So it will be better to get out of the trade instead of taking more losses. Now I've capped my risk to 1%. So if in case I lose this trade, I'll only lose 1% of my capital, which is ideal. And that is just proper risk management. Which will also be available in the Discord community. What strategy do you use, or do you guys use to trade the markets? I know ICT concepts are very, very prevalent, but I do not trade ICT concepts. Let me just take a quick look at what's happening on the other pairs. With GBP, JPY, nothing interesting for this London session. Which is similar price action I'm getting to all the JPY pairs, or the yen pairs. The USD pairs, I didn't see if there was going to be any opportunities, but let's wait and see. I can see we are pushing higher. Probably be looking for reversals during the New York session. Now with pound USD, I'll wait to see if we can get outside of this consolidation impulsively to take shots. This might have to wait until maybe even the New York session, but if we do get setups, if we do get the sell-off during this London session, it's something I'll be looking at. Let me just mark this as maybe something to have just an eye on. not so much with Euro USD. Okay, but with Euro USD, we'll also continue pushing lower from this sort of a consolidation here. I might consider taking short entries. So, but you have to push outside aggressively with a lot of momentum to see if I can take short entries. But for now, let me just focus on the JK225 entry that I do have. Now, if this is the only trade that I take today, whether it's a loss or a win, I'll be completely fine with it. As I said, I've come down now a little bit from the initial stages where I was over trading. So I realized that even though I'm trading on the 5 minute, doesn't mean that you are going to get as many opportunities to place entries unless you're just forcing trades. So with this particular trade, it will be really ideal if it's a win, because we'll be able to see how I manage the trade within the live stream. But if it's a loss, it's completely fine. That's part and parcel of trading, as long as you've mitigated your losses. So for me, in this instance, my stop is at this level over here, and I've reached 1% of my trading capital on this particular trade. ICT guy, yeah. My risk reward, so let me just give you an idea of how I manage the trade. So I do not set a set TP target. So what I normally do, now that we've had, I'm in this trade, so I'm waiting for price to first break this high before I can move my stops to break even. But let's say we break this high and we get this pullback, first pullback. So we get, if we break the high and we get this pullback, now my stop, I'll have moved my stop to break even. But normally, as price continues to push higher, let me just delete this. So what we normally know about trending markets is that we get higher highs and higher lows. So price moves in this manner, get higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And as price continues to push higher, that's what we normally get until we get a break of the trend. So normally, I normally lock in profits in this manner. So in case you get the first, you get an impulsive push, you get a correction, and then we get continuation of momentum, and we break this previous high. Once we break the previous high, I lock in profits at that previous low. As price now continues to push higher, we get another pullback, and price breaks this high again and continues pushing higher. I move my stop a little bit higher so that I can lock it more profits, and that's what I do. As price continues to push higher, we get higher highs, higher lows. So in case now we get the reversal, if we do get the reversal now, you will see that I'll be tagged out at this level over here, having locked in profits as price continues to push higher. So in case we get a reversal, I'll be able to be tagged out before price pulls all the way back to where I got an entry. So that's normally how I manage my trades. I do not have a set TP. This just allows me to ride wave as long as possible so that I can maximize profits without also losing all the profits in case price decides to reverse. Which time frame do I use? Now, for the swing entries, I use the 1 hour time frame, and for the intraday, I use the 5 minute time frame. Now, I do not do higher time frame or multiple time frame analysis or a top-down analysis where I look at what's happening on the maybe 1 day, 4 hour going down. For me, I only use one particular time frame because I'm looking for cycles within that particular time frame. I don't have to know what's happening on the higher time frame. It's all about taking advantage of the different cycles within one particular time frame. So if it's the 1 hour time frame, I do all my analysis on the 1 hour time frame. If it's the intraday strategy, then I do all my analysis on the 5-minute time frame. So like you've just seen, we have this cycle where a market that has been a consolidation, we get a downtrend. Now we sort of have an uptrend. It depends on if price is going to continue pushing higher. So it's all about looking for an imbalance in buying pressure within one particular time frame. Hello, Onyx. Welcome to the stream. Now, price is just within my entry. Now, I've been in this trade for 1 hour, 10 minutes. Still holding the trade. Haven't locked in any profits because price does not continue to push higher. We're still waiting for buyers to take control of the market. If they don't, then we might get a market that continues to push lower, tagging me out, and that will be it for the JP225 for today in case we get tagged out. How are ICT concepts this so far taking you this year? Are you getting a lot of opportunities? So right now we're in drawdown, slightly in drawdown. Ideally, I like to get whenever I get an entry such as this, I normally like to see just price continue to push. I don't like to see price hovering around this area because more likely than not, whenever we hover around the entry, we might get tagged out. We might get tagged out of the trade. So this might end up being a loss, but let's wait and see. If we break this low over here, this candle might end up taking us out. So let's wait and see how it's going to react to testing these lows. How many trades do you average with your approach now? It depends actually with the week. So sometimes I might take 2, sometimes I might take 4 trades, sometimes maybe just 1, but that's on the intraday strategy. Now on the swing approach, it was even less trades, especially the market conditions that we have. So that's why I had to iterate and come up with this intraday strategy, which is now giving me a lot more opportunities, but it's not like I'm placing too many trades, and I wouldn't like to place too many trades in a week. So for now, maybe like 2-3 trades in a week, at most maybe 4. Sometimes it might even be 1. It really depends on the market conditions. gotten some sort of reaction to testing these lows this week. So hopefully this candle closes bullish and we break outside and continue pushing higher. If not, we are going to probably get tagged out of the trade. Price is really testing my patience. Now, this is just part and parcel of trading. Having to hold trades in such scenarios. As I usually say, like if I wasn't doing the live stream, I will not be sitting down and monitoring the trade. Normally what I do is I place the trade. Once I have my stop loss, that's it. I let the trade run and continue doing other things, because staring at the charts is just going to make you a lot more anxious. And no matter how long you stare at the charts, it's not going to change anything. If price is going to play in your favor, it's going to play in your favor. If not, no amount of sitting down and staring at the charts is going to change anything. It's just strange having to sit and watch the trade play out. In 2024 is really when ICT concept really became popular. 2024, 2023. I'm even surprised how I was able to restrain myself from jumping strategies or shifting strategies to go and trade ICT concepts. But I'm just glad that I was able to modify my swing approach to be able to use the same price action concepts on the 5-minute charts. Otherwise, maybe even I would have had to have a look at ICT concept, because the thing I figured out about ICT concepts or ICT trading is the strategy actually gives people an opportunity to place to be active in the markets more than most other strategies, and maybe that's why it became really popular, especially with new traders, because you get an opportunity to constantly place trades in the market. In terms of returns on ROI at the end of the year, I've not yet met an ICT concept trader who's really showed me how the trade performs, how the strategy performs annually. But it's not to say that it's not profitable. I've definitely seen traders who I respect who trade ICT concepts. But I think with ICT concepts, you have to have come with another different understanding and training of how to trade the market, so that when you trade ICT concept, those people who trade ICT concepts whom I have seen to be successful with the strategy, most of them came from this other approach from price action trading, and so they're able to mix parts of price action trading with ICT concepts. And generally with all other trading strategies that I think you have to like pick up something different from different ways of looking at the markets. Then over time, you back test, you forward test, and you come to your own way of trading the markets. Not every one of us is going to trade exactly the same way, even if we do learn and trade the same strategy, execution will be a little bit different. So I'm still in drawdown on this particular trade, but I've not been tagged out of the trade. Let me even just confirm my broker. Yeah, still in the trade. Down minus 0.6% around there. How many trades do you guys average per week with your approach to trading? But how many of you are actually just starting? You're just on your journey to starting your journey in trading. You still don't have a fixed approach to the way you trade the markets. This type of trades really do test your patience. Yeah, that's the way. See, we are mixing up ICT with some other concepts is what exactly I was talking about. So how many trades do you actually average, or how's your trading so far in this, let's say, last 2 months? Buyers are not taking control of the market, man. Still waiting for price to push higher. As I said, for this London session, I only had 2 pairs on watch, the NAS 100 and the JP225. And I got an entry on the JP225, which is currently slightly in drawdown. And we're going to wait and see how price is going to play out. My stop is at this level. We are waiting for day in the life vlogs. Oh yeah, I will have a vlog this week, probably even 2 of them. I did one vlog maybe last week on Friday. On Thursday, do you think it was on? No, it was not on Thursday. I think it was on Tuesday, but I uploaded the video on Wednesday. Do I trade prof on real? I've already talked about this before earlier in the stream, but I've traded prop firms before, but I also trade personal capital, and I actually think it is better to grow your own personal capital, but prop firms provide an amazing opportunity. And as I've said, this particular year, for the first half of the year, I was working on the intraday strategy because the swing approach was not really ideal to passing prop firms. I have passed prop firms before. I've lost prop firm accounts. So from August to the end of the year, I'll be very aggressive with my prop firm approach, because I intend to raise a huge amount of capital with prop firms. And what I was waiting for was just to lock in on the intraday strategy so that I can use it to trade prop firms, because the swing approach that I had was not ideal to prop firms. So that's it with prop firms. So from August, and I've already said that I will be launching the Discord community within the next 3 weeks. So a lot of the prop firm content, a lot of my prop firm approach strategy on how to pass, how to manage risk while doing the actual prop firm, the strategy you can use, because I do not believe in having a conservative approach when it comes to prop firms. I used to have a conservative approach, and I found out it's not ideal when it comes to passing prop firms. So I've changed out my approach. But from August, you'll be able to see how I actually do the prop firm, pass the prop firms, manage the prop firms, getting payouts. All of that will be available in the Discord community, but I'll also be always posting on YouTube. So whichever way you'll decide to engage with the content, that will be up to you. I like how you manage your trades, bro. Very accurate and precise. Yeah, thanks. Now, I've said my trading approach is very simple, and especially when it comes to managing my trades. The less complicated it is, the better. What made your psychology click? I think the thing with trading psychology, it just takes time, but I can give you a few tips. So first of all, you need to know the specific data on your trading strategy. So what I mean here is things such as your win rate, your loss streak. Now there's a video that I did on this, on trading psychology. If you go to my channel, you'll be able to see the video. But basically, if you know your win rate and you know your loss rate, it will be easier for you to deal with trading psychology. Because let's say, for example, you already know that you have a win rate of 30%. So for me, normally this strategy has a win rate of around 30% there. So you know that out of every 10 trades, you're probably going to get 7 losses. Now, once you know that, and this is based on data that you've backtested for many years. So once you have that information, if you take one loss, if you take a loss, or if you take a series of losses, it will be easier to deal with the psychology of taking losses, because you already know that this is something that you expect from your strategy based on your stats. Now that is very important to know that my strategy has this win rate or this strike rate. So in case, normally when you take like 2 losses in a row, it's very difficult to take the next trade because you're constantly fearing what if this trade ends up being a loss. But if you have your stats on lock, you've done your backtesting, you've collected data, I advise you go and look at that video. You'll be able to understand everything I'm talking about right now. So once you have those details on lock, you know this is my win rate, this is my strike rate, this is my loss rate. So normally for me, I can see that sometimes I can have a losing streak of even maybe 6 trades or 7 trades. But what I do know is, even though no matter how many losses I take, at the end of the year, my strategy will have a positive ROI. So once you know that, having a loss is not an issue, and you also have to stop looking at trading from a month to month perspective. I always say, try to backtest your trading strategy for maybe 2 years, previous years. So if we're in 2026 right now, go and backtest 2025, go and backtest 2024, even 2023. You can even backtest the previous 5 years. Now, from that data that you collect from the trades that you take during the backtesting session, you can put them we can either use a software or a spreadsheet that gives you enough details such as the loss rate, win rate, and all these things. So you can go check out the video. It's actually even labeled trading psychology, something like that. You'll be able to see the video and you'll be able to understand my approach to dealing with trading psychology. But also, I can recommend a few books for you. There's this book by Mark Douglas. Let me just quickly check it out. Just the name has just skipped my mind. Yeah, the book Trading in the Zone. The book is actually called Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. It really is a classic book when it comes to trading psychology, but you can also see videos from Mark Douglas. He actually does so many videos on trading psychology. But generally, trading psychology is something that is just going to take you time. Once you've traded for quite a while, you've gone through these cycles. Some things are just about time. There's nothing you can do to completely get a lock of your trading psychology if you're not been trading long enough. You have to trade the markets, go through those cycles where you are taking losses, see yourself taking wins, slowly recovering the losses until you're back in profit. So you'll be able to understand that your trading is going to go through different cycles. You're going to take losses. You're going to take consecutive losses. No matter which strategy you're going to use, dealing with losses is always an issue. And as I've said, you need to have a handle of your stats to know your win rate, strike rate, maximum loss streak, so that you'll be able to handle your trading psychology. But I also say that trading prop firms add more pressure on your trading psychology because of the maximum drawdown limit that they have. When you're trading a personal account, you don't have those 10% breach rules or anything like that. But when you're trading a prop and you take three losses in a row, you know that now you're slowly approaching that 10% target, and the pressure becomes even more, and it will obviously affect your trading psychology. So that's why I also say that I took some time from doing prop farms to completely get a lock on this intraday strategy before I can go back to doing prop farms. And right now, if I do even an evaluation, I have a strategy on how I'm going to do the evaluations, and if I fail, it's okay, because I already know that with prop evaluations, it's really, you need to be good at trading, but it's not just about how good you are. Trading the passing prop farms is really somehow like a lottery, because it depends on the market conditions that you get during that period when you're starting the prop farm. So if you start a prop farm and maybe that's just the period when your trading strategy is going into a period of some losses, you'll likely not pass the eval. But if you're lucky and you start the eval and you just start with maybe 2 consecutive wins, you might end up even passing the prop farm with those 2 trades. So it really depends. So for example, let's say I was starting a prop farm today and I was at 0% and I had a target of 2, maybe 8% or 10%. Now my new approach to prop farms is I'm risking 2% or 1.5% per trade. So if I risk 2%, I'll only need 5. So this particular trade will only need to go to this level for me to pass the prop evaluation by risking 2% per trade. But by also risking 2% per trade, it means if I take 5 consecutive losses, I'll have to start again another prop. And that's why I say it's important to have enough capital to throw at prop farms, because if you take 5 trades consecutive losses and you start another prop farm immediately, if you have the capital to start another prop farm immediately, you might pass the new prop farm with that 6th trade that you are taking, because you've already gone through the losses in your trading strategy, the cycle of losses, and maybe you're just getting into some wins. So it really depends. But as I've said all these things, I'm going to be talking about them, and I'm going to be going into great detail within the Discord community. So we've actually pushed outside of the drawdown. We are now just slightly above my entry. Hopefully we continue pushing high. I don't want to see this trade continue to hover around this area for far too long from now, because we've already been in the trade for like almost 2 hours now. We've been in the trade for 1 hour 25 minutes, around 1 hour 30 minutes. So as I said, I do not have any set TP. I've already shown you guys how I'm going to manage this trade as price continues to push higher. At this moment in time, I've not yet even moved my stop. It's still just at the initial place where I placed my stop. If we break this high is when I'm now going to start moving my stop to around break even. We really have had to be patient with this particular trade. Let me just see if we've gotten, no, we did not get the break that was looking for on pound USD. So this is no longer a trade I'm looking for, because if we are starting to push higher, but we have these areas of resistance at the top here, so I'm not looking for longs at this point in time. So I just stick to managing my trade on JP225 or the Nikkei. Now this is the chart from Blueberry, which is the broker that I use. So you can find the link in the description in case you're interested. How long have you been trading, and what exactly is the main issue with your trading psychology? Is it trading, taking the trades? Is it managing the trades? Are you taking profits too early? The different challenges you get when you're trading. Some have a challenge with just taking the trade. You're actually too scared to take the trade, and that's as a result, as I said before, of not really knowing the ins and outs of your trading strategy, especially the starts. If you have the starts, you won't have any issues. You won't have a lot of pressure when taking trades. And for those who manage their trades and get out of lock-in profits earlier than they should, it also comes down to the same thing. You need to really backtest your trading strategy to get the confidence to execute trades and manage the trades. I would really like to move this trade to break even. It just break this high. So I'm waiting for price to break this high before I can start managing the trade. I can move my stop to break even. Once we break this high, I'll probably move my stops to around this break even, just maybe slightly below break even, depending on the candle formation between this point and how we break the high. But for now, I still have full risk on the trade, which is 1% of my capital. Got the data, but sometimes entries an issue. Okay. The 1 minute time frame is crazy. to take entries on the 1 minute time frame, because on the 1 minute time frame, for you to get to execute your trades, you'll get a lot of slippage. And with that sort, and with trading on the 1 minute time frame with a lot of slippage, you're likely not going to get any profitable trades, because by the time you set your stop and by the time you place an entry, you get filled very close to your stop. So it's not ideal to execute trades on the 1 minute time frame. Now, maybe if you're trading futures, with futures the entry is really precise, so maybe you could trade the 1 minute on the futures, but with CFDs it's really difficult to get the right execution on the 1 minute. Even on the 5 minute time frame I normally get slippage, but it's not that big, it's not that detrimental to my strategy, because I still have quite a distance considering that I'm placing trades on the 5 minute. But on the 1 minute, I've once tried to execute trades on the 1 minute, and the slippage was just too much for me to continue even considering trading on the 1 minute. So maybe you could try and execute the trades at a different time frame. On the 1 minute it's too low, and you're going to always get slipped when you place your entries, and you'll not be able to manage the trade effectively. Now, when you're backtesting, when you're placing the trades, you not suffer the slippage, so it's easy to just place the trades on the trading view and say that this was a win, and you go and enter the data in your spreadsheet. But when you're actually placing the trade, you're going to be slipped at you're going to get such a huge slip that the execution that you are using to base your assessment of your performance of your strategy is not going to be applicable anymore. So maybe you try to execute at a higher time frame. Was the issue the slippage, or your trades were just, or were you getting the your entries filled at the exact price you wanted? Because for me, when I tried executing a trade on the 1 minute, I quickly noticed the slippage. So maybe that might be also the issue you are experiencing, and it's causing you to have a disparity between your backtested stats and your real live trading stats. Price is just slightly above my entry, but still not gotten the commitment I'm waiting for. I'm looking to see if I can get some strong commitment from the buyers to push prices higher. Still waiting for price to break this high. Now, if you break this high, now I'll be able to move my stop to break even, because I'll place it just below this candle, the low of this candle, I mean. Still a game of patience. Let's wait and see how price is going to play out. As I've said, I only have one entry, and this is probably going to be my only trade for the London session. I'll have to reassess to see if we've gotten more price development on the currencies, to see if we can get entries during the New York session. But if this is the only trade for me today, I'll be completely fine with it, whether it's a loss or a win. So what's normally your ROI, annual ROI by the way, when you backtest? And does the spreadsheet you use help you to get the details I'm talking about, such as win rate, strike rate, loss streak? Are you able to collect such data to get such data from your spreadsheet? Feel like the move is coming. Entering like since I feel like the move is coming, even when my confidence is not. Okay. So that really is a big issue. If you are taking the trades before price comes to your entry, maybe you've not backtested enough, because you have to wait for the conferences to align. If the conferences don't align, then that really is not a high probability trade. And sometimes you might get a win from a trade after when you've placed a trade which does not match the conferences that you had for your entry trigger, and it ends up being a profit. But that is not how I would advise anyone to judge their trading performance. So let's say, for example, today, for me, if this trade ends up being a win, or it ends up being a loss, I'll not use that to judge my trading performance for the day. What I use to judge my trading performance is, have I executed the trade based on my trading strategy? Did I wait for the conferences? Did I wait for the entry trigger? Was it a high probability setup? So if it was a high probability setup and I've taken the trade and it matches all the conferences that I had in that particular trade, if it ends up being a loss, I'll still consider that a very good trade because I followed my trading plan. If it ends up being a win, well and good, because I've also followed my trading plan. So the main thing is following a trading plan, because if you do follow your trading plan, it doesn't matter whether it's a win or a loss. You just know that at the end of the year, the probabilities are going to play out. So, and you'll end up being in profit. So it's about being patient enough to wait for your conferences. And if you're finding yourself taking trades before you get your conferences align, then that is really a big problem. So maybe you might need a little bit more back testing. Have you actually back tested your strategy thoroughly enough, or for how long have you been back testing on trading and actually trading? This price really is playing with me. But as I said, like if it was not for the live stream, I will not be sitting here staring at the screen, because I already have my stop and I'm still waiting for price to break this high. So I do not have any influence on what is going to happen. So there's no point in just staring at the screen. So at this point in time, I would have continued doing other things and just maybe looking at the charts after every maybe 10-15 minutes to see if I can manage the trade. We seem to have gotten some interesting developments on UK Brent, but after this push to the upside, I was waiting for a reversal. We've gotten the reversal, but we're not getting the correction or the entry trigger. So it looks like this market is still going to range for a while. So let me just focus on the JP225. Now, hopefully, once I launch the Discord community with all the learning material, we'll be able to follow along with the live streams, and most of you will be able to take the same trades as I do. So I'm really looking forward to the launch of the Discord community, because with the Discord community we can just do all the technical stuff with the Discord. With the YouTube I can't do a lot of technical stuff on the YouTube, so that will be really something to look forward to. Performance for testing. Have you been placing trades, executing trades on the 1 minute all those 4 months? I think that, and what was your performance been like in terms of percentage returns? Actually advise everyone to just focus on the percentage returns when it comes to your trading. Don't focus so much on the monetary figures, because the percentage returns are actually what matters the most. Because if you get the percentage returns right, then it's just about how much capital you can raise. In case you've seen that maybe during that 4 months, your performance has not been ideal because maybe you're getting filled at the wrong prices on the 1 minute, maybe you should adjust and try to execute maybe at a higher time frame. Maybe even try the 5 minute or the 15 minutes. But I'm not really that well versed with ICT concepts, so I'm not really sure how you're going to modify, but I definitely know for sure that executing on the 1 minute time frame is detrimental. You're not likely going to be profitable if you're executing on the 1 minute, unless, as I've said, you're trading with futures. Because with futures you can get entries at the right fill even on the 1 minute. I think. From what I've seen, I've not traded futures myself. Now we are selecting drawdown, still waiting to see if price is going to break this high. So normally I like to do the live streams of the London session for the first 1.5 hours. But for this instance, I really hope that we can get some push to the upside and we can manage the trade. But if price continues to just hover around this area for quite a while, I'm still going to manage the trade, even if I'm off the live stream. But for now, I'm still in the live stream. I'm still live streaming my management of this particular trade. Now, as I said before, normally whenever price starts to range, starts to just move sideways or just hovers around my entry, I really don't like it. I prefer that once I take an entry, because it's a continuation entry to the upside, price just continues to push higher. In such scenarios, we are likely going to get tagged out of the trade, so I'm starting to push lower towards my stop, waiting to see if I'm going to get tagged out of this trade. So you're only trading one pair, the US 500 or the US 30? Or the S&P 500, or okay, that's fine. You don't trade currencies? Maybe you should try the strategy also on a few currencies. Most of the people who I've seen trading ICT concepts normally trade currencies, especially the major currencies. But it also depends on your how you've backtested the strategy. If you're comfortable trading only indices, then that's fine. But ideally, but I get why you're only trading one pair, because maybe you're executing on the 1 minute time frame. But as I've said, if you are executing on the 1 minute time frame, you're going to get filled out mostly at the wrong prices. So it's really difficult to have a consistently profitable strategy. But it really depends on your own backtesting sessions, forward testing sessions. Just a few pips from getting tagged out of this trade. just surviving, not yet tagged out of the trade. If this trade ends up being a win, it will be more of a surprise because of how long you have taken inside, how long you have taken within the entry area. I would have preferred if you just pushed upwards immediately. I'm probably going to get tagged out of this trade, but let's wait and see. I've not really had any chance to manage the trade because I'm still waiting for price to break this high before I can move my stops. So right now I still have 1% full risk. So if I'm tagged out at this level, that will be 1%. That will be a 1% loss, and that will be not ideal, but it is ideal since it's only 1%. And the good thing is, for me, I always have a stop with all my entries, so that in case price does not go in my favor, I can get out of the trade as fast as possible without getting into too much drawdown. So in case I did not have this stop and you just continue holding the trade, price might continue pushing low and low, and you end up losing or suffering a huge loss. So it's better to have a stop loss so that if price does not go in your direction, you are in and out for a 1% loss. You're more likely than not going to get tagged out of this trade. If I do survive, I'll be surprised. Listen, but as I've said before numerous times, losses are part and parcel of trading. So if you do get tagged out of the trade, that will be completely fine. Barely surviving right now. The thing I love about my broker is I'm still in the trade. Even when it got to this level, I was not slipped out the trade. So that is ideal. Pound USD, check pound USD. Okay. Let me have a quick look at what's happening on pound USD. Okay, as I said, with pound USD, I was waiting to see if we could get reversals, if we could get continuation of momentum to the downside once we got outside of this sort of consolidation area here. But what we've gotten instead is price has continued pushing higher. Now, what you notice here is that on the left side of the screen, initially we had this sort of market that was in a range that's moving sideways. And so right now what it's happening, we've just gone back inside the range, this range area. So I will not be looking to take longs because we also have this sort of a resistance level at the top here. So this just might be an expansion of this sort of a consolidation area. Now, what will make me look for long entries on pound USD will be if we break this high of this, break outside of this consolidation area here. Now, let's say price pushes out of this area, we get very strong bullish pressure, buying pressure. We break outside, then we get a consolidation, we get a correction. I'll be looking to take entries, but I don't see that happening today. So for pound USD right now, it's not a pair I'll be looking at to take any entries. Initially, I was waiting to see if we could break outside of this consolidation impulsively because we'll have quite a distance to cover for price to actually run before we got any sort of resistance. But because we've gotten buying pressure taking us back inside this level, I'll not be looking to take any trades on pound USD at this point in time until we break this high. If we break this high impulsively, I might consider looking at pound USD. Have I been tagged out of this trade? Now you notice I'm using the feed from my broker sometimes because, especially when taking trades, I'd also prefer using a broker that actually has their chart feed on TradingView because you can get to analyze and place the trades based on the price action you're getting from them. And executing trades, when you're executing trades, especially you need to execute using the price feed from your broker, not the price feed from another broker, especially when it comes to these indices, commodities, and metals, because the price feed might be a little bit different. But when it comes to the currencies are almost the same across all brokers, so it's not an issue. I would say the greatest challenge you'll get when trading indices, commodities is position sizing. The internet is starting to act up. actually survived getting tagged out. Hopefully now price just continues to push higher. That will be surviving a trade by the skin of your teeth. What were you looking at on GBP USD? Just imagine if this trade plays out and becomes a monster trade in terms of ROI. Like I would have survived by, I don't know how many pips this is, but barely surviving. Now I might still get tagged out of this trade, and that is what I expect. So I've already made peace with that, knowing that I'm only going to lose 1%. Let me just take a quick glance at the other pairs. So with the currencies, I'm not really expecting anything, but I can see we are still just in a corrective phase across all the yen pairs. Sorry about that. Nothing for me on the currencies today. Maybe during the New York session we'll reassess. For now, it's just about managing this trade, or at least seeing if I'm going to get an opportunity to manage the trade. More likely than not, I'm going to get tagged out of this trade. Already broke down the reasons for taking this trade at the start of the live stream, so in case that's something you might be interested in, you might have a quick look, go at the start of the live stream, and you're able to see the reasoning for taking the trade. But as I've said, I'm currently working on the learning material for the Discord community, so that a lot of you will be able to get a good understanding of price action of concepts. Even if you're a beginner, the learning material will be from complete beginner to any level of trading you're at. So that will be available within the next 3 weeks, and we'll be able to follow along better on the live streams, and we will be able to take the same trades most of the time. Now the internet is really acting up. Really hope it doesn't mess up this stream. really like to know what strategy you guys use to trade. I already know one of you use ICT concepts, and I know ICT concepts are quite popular. So do any of you guys also trade ICT concepts, or do you trade price action concepts? I know some of you might be using indicators. As you can see, I only use clean charts. I trade price action concepts only, and you do not need any indicators when trading price action. Even these lines, sometimes I don't use it. I don't need to use it right now, but for illustration purposes, I know that this is my high, so I'm indicating this line so that you can follow along. So right now I'm waiting for price to break this high before I can start to manage the trade and lock in some profits. For now, I'm actually in drawdown, and I just survived this trade by a whisper, so let's wait and see. Hopefully we get price pushing upwards, and that will be such an escape. It will be such a good luck trade considering how close I was to getting tagged out. Have you guys taken any trades today? This trade has really played with us. Now starting to push towards my entry. Hopefully after this candle we just continue to push upwards. If we continue with this sort of a price action where we're just pushing sideways, pushing lower, we'll end up getting tagged out of this trade. Hopefully this trade is a win so that you can see how I get to manage the trade and lock some profits. My internet is really acting up. I hope the stream is still good enough. As I've said, hopefully we can now get consecutive bullish candles. We just get a push like this one, we're going to be able to break past this high. I'll be able to at least move my stocks to break even. The way I'm seeing the price develop on other pairs, this might actually be the only trade for the day. So if we do get continuation of momentum, it will be just about managing this trade for today. Been streaming right now for like 2 hours. Little bit of fatigue is starting to kick in. But I really want to live stream how I'm going to manage this trade. Especially if we start pushing upwards. I'll stay on a little bit longer just to show you how I'm going to manage the trade. For those of you who have just joined the live stream for the first time, or this is the first time coming across my content, then kindly remember to subscribe so that you won't miss out on these live streams and the next time I upload my day in the life vlogs. So right now it's just pushed above my entry. So just in and around that entry area. So I've said I'm hoping you can get a run like this, push, get a run like this, push to the upside. We're going to break this high and I'll be able to manage the trade and start to lock in some profits. This particular trade was really tested our patience and our trading psychology today. But as I said, like normally if I was not live streaming, then I will not be looking at I will not be sitting down and watching the trade play out. I will just continue doing other things and monitoring the trade maybe after every 15 minutes to see if I can move my stop. Because once you have your stop loss, you don't need to like sit and stare at the screen. It won't change anything. If the price is going to play in your favor, it's going to play out in your favor, whether you stare at the screen or not. And if you're going to get tagged out, then you're just going to get tagged out. So this was a trade that I took just before the start of the London session at around 7:50 London time or 9:50 AM Kenyan time. And I've been in the trade now for around 2 hours 30 minutes. Now with these intraday trades, I'm normally in and out of the trade within the day. So whatever happens, I'll be out of this trade by close of business day today, or even not even too far off. Maybe I normally stop trading at 6 p.m. Kenyan time. So maybe just before the London session ends. But normally I'm in and out of these trades in a few hours. 2 to 3 hours. I've just stayed longer in this trade because price did not continue to push higher. As I was anticipating, it just hovered around my entry for quite a while. So this might end up being a loss, as I've said, or it might end up being a win. We actually need one strong bullish candle. One really strong impulsive candle will take us above this high. If you're joining the live stream, then I'm currently in on this JP225 long entry, or what some of you might refer to as the Nikkei. So this is just within my entry, and we're waiting to see how price is going to play out. The good thing about the launch of the Discord community is, in such situations like this, where this trade is just like hovering around my entry, I can be able to end the stream, and I could have been able to update you guys on the progress of the trade on in the Discord. So that will be really ideal once the Discord is up and running, because I like to live stream maybe for 2 hours during the London session, and if I can, then to another 2 hours during the New York session. But with this instance, in this particular trade, I want to see if I can continue the live stream until we get a chance to, you can get a chance to see how I'm going to manage the trade. This is now just about a game of patience. As I always say, you have to be really patient with trading, and normally trading is actually very boring. It's like this, you are just place at trades, and it's not always you're going to get an entry. Maybe, as I've said earlier in the stream, I normally have maybe 2, 3, 4 trades in a week, sometimes maybe just one. Even though I'm trading an intraday strategy, I do not get to place as many entries as you would think, which is also ideal for me. The more trades you take, the more losses you are likely to take. So in terms of trade management, less is more. Call me a game and play full pro. I mean, oh. Big. When I start doing meetups, we'll definitely have a game of pool sometime. Price is now taking me again into drawdown. I don't like this price action on this entry, but already have my entry and I have my stop. So if I wasn't doing the live stream, I will not even continue caring about this trade. I'll just have an alert at this level so that once we break this high, I can now manage the trade. That is how I ideally like to manage my trades. I don't like to sit and stare at the computer screen and watch prices play out, because sometimes you get this sort of price action where price just hovers around your entry instead of continue to push it in your direction. So in this instance, you just have to be patient. I already have my stop, so there's nothing more I can do from this point until we break this high. And you also notice I've not been in a rush to close the trade because it's hovering around the same area. So sometimes if you don't have your trading psychology on lock, or you don't have your trading plan on lock, in case price starts to just hover around your entry area, taking you to draw down like this, you might be tempted to just close the trade. But in this instance, for me, since I already have a trading plan and I have a strategy, it's just about letting the trade to play out. So in case price continues to push low and you get tagged out, that will be a 1% loss, which will be completely fine. And in case we break this higher and continue pushing higher, then it's going to be about managing the trade and locking in profits. So for those joining the live stream, slightly in drawdown on this JP225 long entry. This is the only pair that I had on watch. This is the only trade that I've been able to take today, especially during the London session, and it will probably be the only trade that I'm going to take today, seeing how price is developing on other pairs. How are the markets looking on your end based on how you trade? Have you taken any trades? Do you see yourself taking any trades today? So we've been live streaming now for maybe 2.5 hours. Let me just confirm. Yeah, 2 hours 26 minutes. I've liked the engagement today on the chart. And I always say, if you have any questions, let's engage in the charts. Now we are back into drawdown. This trade is probably going to be a loss, but let's wait and see. I really don't like it when we have to hover around my entry for this long. This for me looks like just a big like flag correction before price will continue to push higher, but I might get tagged out before price continues to push higher. But in case we break this high, we might really get an opportunity for a monster trade to just lock in profits as price continues to push higher, because we have quite a distance before we can get to this resistance level. So where I can get some resistance around this level over here. So it's all about how we are going to manage the trade if price continues to push higher. If you have any questions, again, you can leave them in the chat. this is definitely one of those trades that just manage from afar, like not sitting down and staring at the screen. But since you're doing a live stream, you have to sit. I really want to see if I can be able to manage this trade during the live stream, if I can get an opportunity to break this high. Right now I'm slightly in drawdown. We only need 2 strong bullish candles for this trade to start pushing upwards and break this high. And get a candle like this, a strong candle like this, but a bullish candle, that will be really ideal. As I said, the good thing about today is we do not have any high impact news coming out, so I don't have to worry about spikes in prices, having to close the trade before the release of news release. So that is the ideal thing about today's trade, apart from the fact that it has just been really corrective around my entry area. So for those joining the chart once again, I'm currently on this JP225 long entry, still hovering around my entry area. Hopefully you can get an opportunity to manage this trade as we break this high and lock in some profits. If not, I have my stop around this level over here. So if price reverses, that will be a 1% loss. But for now, price is just hovering around my entry. How long have you been trading profitably? I would say it depends. Some years have been profitable, some have not. But what I will say is, for the last year, the markets were really not ideal for my swing entries. So at the start of this year, I was only trading on the swing approach. And for the last half of last year, it was largely mainly break-even. But this year, I started the intraday strategy approach. So I've been trading on the intraday for the past now 2 months or 3 months. I'm starting to get some profitability on the intraday, but based on the back testing and the data I've collected on this intraday, it is profitable, and it's just the same strategy I'm trading on the swing approach, just implementing the entries on the lower time frame. But so far I like the results I'm getting from the intraday strategy, especially because it's giving me a lot of opportunities to take trades, especially when I'm seeing a lot of correction or market that is just moving sideways on the 1 hour time frame on the swing approach. So with this particular strategy, it is really ideal for me with these market conditions. So I'm mixing the both of them. On the higher time frames, the swing approach it has not been that profitable this year. I've only even taken 3 trades, so it was really ideal for me to find another way to mix things up and iterate a little on my trading strategy. So right now I'm trading the intraday and the swing, which will be ideal in terms of generating returns regardless of the market conditions, because if you are getting market conditions that are not favorable on the swing approach, I can get entries on the intraday. Buyers have really not taken control of this market as I was expecting. Expecting to get prices continue to push higher after this entry at this level. The ideal scenario with this sort of continuation entries is once you take the trade, you get continuation of momentum, because you got the initial push, you get a correction, and you get continuation. But we seem to be hovering around the entry for a while right now. And normally, whenever you get this sort of a situation, you're more likely than not to get tagged out of the trade. So I'm more likely going to get tagged out of this trade. I survived getting tagged out of the trade with this candle. But let's wait and see. Now, if this trade ends up being a win, that will be really ideal, because I would have survived quite a lot here. And today, I don't see any other opportunities for me to placing trades, so this might be the only trade for me today. I might have to manage this trade through start of the New York session. But as I've said, the ideal scenario is that we do not have any high impact news coming out, which might cause spikes in prices. So ideally, if we get continuation of momentum to the upside, as I've said, we have quite a distance for this trade to run before we can get some resistance around this level over here. So for now, it's waiting to see. If I'm not tagged out of this trade, I'm waiting to see if we can break this high. If we break this high, then I'll start to lock in profits. But for now, you just have to be patient. Patience is the name of the game. This will actually be my second trade for July. I took one trade yesterday which was a loss, so if this ends up being a loss, this will be I'll be down 2% for July. But as I've said, like, my strategy has a low strike rate. I have a strike rate of about 30%, so taking losses is actually a normal occurrence. So let's say with a 30% strike rate, it just basically means, like, for example, if I take 20 trades, 6 of them will be wins. I might have maybe like 12 losses, 2 break-evens. But the good thing is I have a high risk-reward ratio. So even if I take only 6 wins out of 20 trades, let's say I'm making an average of 3% per trade that I do take. So out of 20 trades, I'll get 6 times 3, which will be 18, minus, let's say, 12 losses, and I'm risking 1% per trade, so that will be 16 minus 18 minus 12, so that will be a return of plus 6%. So that is actually just how trading works. It's not about just your strike rate, it's about the strike rate vis-a-vis your risk to reward. Because if you have a high risk reward, you normally have a low strike rate. And if you have a high strike rate, let's say maybe above 50%, then your risk reward is definitely lower, maybe 1 to 1 or 1 to 2 at most. Now we're starting to get a push. Hopefully get continuation of momentum, because this is just the start of this 5-minute candle. So basically that's it with my trading strategy. Like, I have a low strike rate, which means that I take more losses, and after such a long time trading, then like I've gotten used to the trading strategy, taking the losses. Hopefully this candle continues to push upwards and get a strong bullish close. We really need just maybe 2 or 3 consecutive bullish candles to break this high. Now, as you can see, I'm actually trading a lot of pairs, trading the currencies, and also have the indices and commodities. Now, what happened is, I used to only trade like 4 pairs: Euro USD, Euro JPY, Audi JPY, and New Zealand JPY. And I was trading only those 4 pairs on a swing approach. And after a while, there was a time in 2022 it was profitable to trade only those 4 pairs, but from 2024, 2025, I could notice a drop off in performance, especially on currencies. So I started testing indices and commodities, and I was doing the back testing on the swing approach. So I started adding slowly other pairs: gold, silver, the NAS, the DAX, the JP225, crude oil. Now, I tried trading palladium and platinum, but there's an instance where I got an issue with the spread, so I stopped trading those particular pairs. So it's just been about iterating and slowly easing myself into trading the commodities and indices. And as you can see, this is actually an entry I have on JP225, which is an index. So trading is a continual progressive process. You just continue getting better and better every day, no matter how much experience you have. There's always room for more improvement. I'm also looking to test other strategies as I continue, not strategies, other pairs, especially indices and commodities, because the strategy actually works, the price action principles actually work across different asset classes. So maybe by next year I'll have added other pairs to the ones that I trade. But for now, these are the pairs that I do trade. As I said, for today, I do not see any opportunities on all the currency pairs, and the only opportunities were on NAS 100 and on the JP225, and I ended up getting an entry on the JP225. The NAS did not present me with the entry, so my entry was on JP225, and I'm really comfortable with that, even if it ends up being a loss. This is probably going to be the only trade that I'm going to take today. If it's a win, then that will be really ideal, because this trade has a lot of potential, because you have quite a distance before you can get some sort of a resistance level, some resistance. So let's just hope and see if this trade is going to give us an opportunity to manage the trade during the live stream. Can't even believe I've been live streaming for almost 3 hours now. Price is just above my entry, still waiting to break this high. Hello, Babaj. is really good. LD is really cool. Such a laid back town. Or should I say city? It's a laid back city. You can really get to lock in and really put in some work. Not a lot of distractions like in Nai. Where are you from? Are you also in LD? These buyers are refusing to take control of this market. I don't know what they're waiting for. Just the price is still hovering around my entry, but he said I actually survived getting tagged out with this candle, and that's actually a good thing with my broker because I did not get slipped out. Some brokers you might get slipped out of your entry in such a scenario. I've never been in Nanyuki, but I know it's such a cool place. Almost very similar to Eldoret, I think. Do you have an open trade? Do you also have a long trade? The buyers are really taking a lot of... They are not ready to commit themselves today, right now, but I still think there's a chance you might continue to push higher, but whenever I get this sort of price just moving sideways within my entry, I get a little bit more worried, but this might just be a huge correction before we get continuation of momentum to the upside. So let's just be patient and wait and see. I've actually been sitting down for almost 3 hours now, and now I get why people prefer the standing desk and doing the live streams while standing, because I'm almost not feeling my feet right now. I might actually need to take a quick break, but I still want to push on for a while. Targeting yesterday's highs, I'm on an open trade too. Okay. So you are an ICT concept type of trade, I can see. Whenever I see someone talk about the fair value gap, So my analysis aligned with your, also it aligned also with your ICT trading concept. That is strange, but also nice. Good to know we also have the same bias. Yeah, if price continues to push high, we actually have quite a distance before we can get some resistance on yesterday's high. This trade is actually testing people's, it's testing my patience. This bias should stop playing around and start taking prices higher aggressively. What do you go for mostly in risk reward? Already addressed this before, but let me just show you how I manage my trade. So normally I do not have a set take profit. So what I normally do, price is pushing higher. We know that trends, we get higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, highs, higher lows, and so on and so forth until the trend ends. So whenever price pushes upwards and then we get a pullback, I'm waiting to see if we are going to break the previous high before I can start managing the trade. So in case we get this initial push, we get a pullback, and then we get continuation of momentum and we break this high. In case I entered the trade maybe at this level over here, so once we get this push, we get the pullback and we get continuation, I'll move my stop to the most previous low. So in case we get another pullback and the price continues to push high and we break this previous high, then I move my stop to this other low, and so on and so forth, so that as price continues to push higher, I'm able to lock in profit. So in case we do get a reversal, then I'm able to get tagged out of the trade at this level. So I won't be able to, I just lock in my profit slowly as price continues to push higher. In that way, I'm able to let the trade run as long as possible, and in case the price does decide to reverse, I'm also able to get tagged out of the trade while I've locked in some profits, instead of allowing the entire trade to go all the way down to my entry level. So that's basically how I manage my trades. I was hoping we could get continuation of momentum so that I could show you how I am actually going to manage the trade during the live stream. But this might just be a scenario where I'll be tagged out of this trade. As I said, whenever trade hovers around my entry for quite a while, it's not an ideal scenario. Yeah, that trailing method is really ideal. I know that with ICT concepts, most traders like to take have a TP target because you are targeting certain highs, certain lows, but also a trailing method gives you an opportunity to let the trade run as long as possible. If this trade ends up being a win, it will be a very satisfying win because of how long we've had to hold the trade while we're in this drawdown or within my entry area. This trade ends up being a win, it will be very satisfactory. Thanks, Babaj. I definitely will continue doing the videos. I'm assuming you're also talking about the vlogs. So for those joining the live stream, I'm currently in on this JP225 long entry. We've been in this trade from 7:50 till 11:10. Now this is based on London time. I usually set my chart settings to London time because that's what I've got used to, especially when it comes to being aware of the spread hours. But this is currently 1:10 Kenyan time. So I've been live streaming now for the past 3 hours, and we've been in this trade for like 3 hours and now around 20 minutes. Or is it 2 hours 20 minutes? Let me just confirm. Yeah, 3 hours 20 minutes. Now, as I said, normally whenever I take continuation entries, I prefer if the trade just continues in the intended direction, because when we get price hovering around my entry, normally this trade ends up being a loss. So I've been waiting to see if we could break this high before I can start to manage the trade, but price is still hovering just inside within my entry area. In fact, I'm slightly in drawdown, and hopefully we are going to break this high and I'll be able to manage the trade. But I'm going to give it another maybe 2 candles. I want to see how these next 2 candles play out. If we can get continuation of momentum and we break the high, I'd like to manage the trade during the live stream. But in case we continue hovering around this area, then I'll probably end the stream and I'll just update you guys on how the trade will play out in my next vlog. I do not see myself live streaming the New York session. Let me just try and focus on live streaming the London session, but consistently. And then maybe later on we can start doing 2 sessions. Especially when I do launch the Discord community. Hopefully this candle continues with this bullish momentum I'm seeing. If we get a strong bullish candle close, then most likely we're going to continue pushing higher. We need a strong bullish candle close. I'm liking the momentum on this candle. What's the biggest thing you have struggled with in your journey? Mm, I wouldn't say one specific thing that I've really struggled with a lot because it's not been like trading psychology. I would say it was just about getting used to trading different market cycles. Now, when I started to trade, I was trading only on the 1 hour time frame and I was trading 4 currencies. And it was mostly a swing approach. And initially, when I started trading that particular strategy back in 2022, 2023, it was really 2021. Yeah, 2021. I started trading that particular strategy, the price action concepts on the 1 hour in 2021. Initially, it was really good. I was even able to pass a few performed challenges evaluations with that particular strategy. But in 2024, 2025, the markets were really corrective, and that was a struggle that I had. So I had to iterate and come up with a different way of trading so that regardless of the market conditions can still be profitable. So this year I started now rolling out the intraday strategy, which is the one I'm executing right now, the 5 minute. So I'm waiting to see how by the end of the year how the two strategies will have intertwined together, because now I have a hybrid approach where I can place trades on the 1 hour time frame, which is my swing approach, and I can also take trades on the intraday. So that will be the most challenging, thing I've had to face, adjusting on the different market conditions, because sometimes some years you get market conditions that are really favorable to your trading strategy, and in some years you get market conditions that are not that favorable. So that's why I've come up with this new hybrid approach. And the thing is, when you're starting out, I used to hear people talk about how you often have to be constantly iterating, making minor adjustments to your trading, and I didn't get what they are saying. But having now traded for a few years and experienced different market conditions, I now have a very good way of trading the markets with different market conditions. If I'm not getting opportunities on the swing, then I can get opportunities on the intraday. But it does not mean that I'm taking trades all the time. Like I said, even on the intraday, I might take maybe 2-3 trades in a week. On the swing, maybe 3 trades in a month or 2 months. So it's just about finding a balance, and finding that balance was the challenge, but now I've sort of figured it out. So I would say that was my biggest challenge. But also when it comes to trading psychology, I would say it was a little bit difficult, especially trading prop firms. But I found a way to deal with that. So as I said, with prop firms, I'm actually waiting for August. I'm just completing right now. I'm locked in working on the Discord community because there are a lot of learning material I need to work on. But within the next 3 weeks, I'll be launching the Discord community, and after that, immediately we start the aggressive prop firm evaluations. And you will be able to see me doing these prop firms. Some of the trades will be able to take in the live sessions, and we'll be able to take the similar trades if you will be in the Discord community and will have gotten an understanding of how the strategy works. We'll be able to, you'll be able to see me aggressively raise capital using prop firms. How about you? What's the biggest thing you had to struggle with? Know that also raising capital is also an issue. That's something that most people really overlook, but the amount of capital you need to actually trade full time, it's going to take you a lot of some time. The good thing is that we have prop firms today. But I always nowadays insist that it's really good if you can grow your personal capital. So the game plan for the next half of the year, which you will be able to see as I do the live streams and also do my other vlogs, is raising a huge amount of capital. I don't want to tell you the exact amount right now, but you'll be able to see me raising that capital, and you'll be able to see exactly the steps that I do take, the trades that I take, the challenges that I will face while doing those evaluations, so that you can learn and also do the evaluations and pass. So there's a lot to look forward to this second half of the year. The first half was about working on this intraday strategy until it works, and until I can get to a situation where it's profitable. And right now I've gotten to that sweet spot where now I will be ready to execute prop evaluations using this particular strategy. So right now we've pushed outside of the entry area. Remember I said I wanted to see how the next two candles will be. Luckily, they've been bullish candles, so we might get a chance to manage the trade during this particular live stream. So for now, I'm waiting to see if we can break this high before I can move my stops to break even. We need to get continuation of momentum. We've been hovering around this entry for long enough right now. Still waiting for price to break this high before we can start locking in some profits. Right now we are just above break even. So far I've been holding this trade for 3.5 hours. Ideally, I like to be in and out of my trades within a few hours, but in such instances, then I just have to manage the trade. My stop is still at my initial level. I've not been able to move my stop. We're still waiting for price to break this high. Yeah, that's actually the biggest issue, capital. Because also with prop firms, you actually need to have a lot of capital to buy multiple prop firms, because it's not ideal to just depend on passing a pop firm with one evaluation. So that is actually that can actually be the biggest challenge, is capital. That I'm sure is a challenge most traders often underestimate. Because people think you can come in with trading with a small amount of capital and be profitable and depend on it. You can be profitable on your small amount of capital, but you need a lot of capital. Now, the game is to actually lock in and being able to have a profitable strategy. And once you do have that profitable strategy, then you can go aggressive to the prop firms. Now, that is actually the only path if you have a challenge with trading capital, but you can also just try to raise personal capital in your own way slowly. Trading is actually something that is going to take you a lot of time, because first you have to learn, then you have to implement what you learned in the live markets, trade for a while until you become profitable on that particular strategy, and then you can now start to raise capital. But I can see you're on the right path. Now we're going back towards my entry. I was anticipating that after these two candles, we still could get some momentum to the upside. So let's just wait and see. Let me just take a quick glance at what's happening on the other pairs, just not to miss out on anything. So, still in a corrective phase. Euro USD, nothing there, nothing on pound, nothing on AUD USD. Probably might continue pushing higher, but I'll be wary about this level. So with AUD USD, probably if we get momentum to the downside, strong selling pressure, I might consider looking for opportunities during the New York session. On USD CHF, I'll be looking to see if we can get reversals. We've been pushing upwards for quite a while, but it's not an ideal uptrending market where I could have taken entries. And since we've been trending upwards for quite a while, right about now I'll be looking to see if we can get strong selling pressure. But I would have to wait until we break this low before I can continue. I can consider taking shorts and short entries. I'm not looking for longs on USD CHF. Euro JPY, nothing here. So let me just mark this as something to look out for. On New Zealand JPY, nothing, and also on pound. So on pound, we'll have to break outside of this area to the downside. I'm not looking for longs on pound JPY today, but if we get continuation of momentum to the downside aggressively, if we break outside of this boxed out area to get a pullback, I'll see if I can take shots to the downside. On gold, we are still in this corrective phase. The price is just moving sideways, so we'll have to wait and see how price is going to break outside of the consolidation. With silver, we have this sort of this looks to me like the start of a large. This looks like the formation of a larger flag. So since we've already had market pushing upwards, I'll look to see if price is going to break outside of this area impulsively. See if we can take continuation entrance with the upside. But I'll be wary of this high. So that's something to look out for. So first of all, we're going to see if you're going to get strong momentum breaking outside of this sort of a flag. On the NAS 100, we're also getting some sort of a larger flag. Remember, the start in the morning, I was looking for entries on upward continuation, entries to the upside on NAS and on JP225. On the NAS, I did not get the entry. I was looking for entries around this area, but I did not get my entry trigger. So right now, we're already just getting into some sort of a larger flag. So with NAS 100, I will be looking to see if we can get continuation of momentum during the New York session. See if I can take continuation entries to the upside. I still have a long bias on the NAS 100. On the DAX, we are pushing lower, but I'm not looking to take short entries. Probably I'll look to see if I can get some sort of signs of exhaustion of the sellers before I can get reversals, but that might really need a lot of time to play out, so not looking at that. So right now, this is the JP225, that's the no-under chart, but I have an entry in JP225. On crude oil, I think we need a little bit more development. I still think price will range for a while within this area. I think we might still continue hovering around this area. So right now, I'm going to focus on my JP225 trade to manage it, and for the pairs that I have on watch for the rest of the day, heading into the New York session, is the NAS 100 and possibly the NAS 100 gold. Not gold, silver. The NAS 100 and silver. And possibly USD CHF. So currently I have an open entry on the JP225. Slightly in drawdown. And for the New York session, I'll have a watch on USD CHF, silver, the NAS 100, and probably gold. For gold, you're waiting to see if we can break outside of this consolidation. So right now, let's focus on the price action on the JP225, which I currently have a long entry. So I've been live streaming for now 3 hours 30 minutes. I think that will be it for today's live stream. I'm still in this trade, which is slightly in drawdown. Now, as I've said, I'm waiting to see if we can break this high so that I can start locking in profits. And I have my stop at this level over here. So in case we continue pushing low, I'm going to get tagged out for a 1% loss. But if we continue pushing higher, then I'll just manage the trade and I'll update you guys on the progress of this particular entry during the next video that I'll do, which will be probably tomorrow. So in tomorrow's vlog, I'll actually cover what happened to this trade, if I was tagged out, or if price continued to push higher, and if I was able to lock in some profits. So for today, that will be it, and I hope that you guys have an amazing trading day. For those of you who have open entries like myself on this particular pair, hopefully we can get to lock in some profits. If not, losses are part and parcel of trading. With that said, I hope to see you guys in the next live stream.